Did you want waffles?
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Warlocks and Waffles, the only TTRPG morning show powered by 13 Furbies in a circle chanting incantations. We are here this morning to talk with our very special guest, Zach from Kobold Press. You like that one, Zach? Yeah, 13 Furbies. 13
Oh, dude, I'm
Furbies in a
not ready
circle.
for the next hour.
We tried 7 Furbies, but they kept dying.
Yeah, they burn themselves out. We might not have been doing this bit yet the last time you were on the show,
not.
Zach.
I was like,
I do not remember Furbies being mentioned the last time I came on the show.
So it's not Furbies normally. I have a running bit that I've been doing where every episode I just introduce the show with some other random thing. And it is my favorite thing in the world when we have a guest and I refuse to prepare them for it. And so they don't know what nonsense is going to be dropped on them. It happens every week with Junie as well, because I never prepare Junie for what the intro is going to be.
Honestly, I love that energy. I'm here for it.
It's a great way to start your morning. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am so excited to be back. Zach, you are our very special guest this morning. Can you introduce yourself and tell the people who you is?
Absolutely. Hi, guys. My name is Zach. My pronouns are he, they. I am the community manager at Kobold Press. We are most recently known for our game system Tales the Valiant. It kind of did some things. This morning, actually, very soon after this podcast concludes, we will be launching our latest Kickstarter, The Labyrinth. It is a bunch of awesome amazingness that we're going to talk about this morning. So I'm excited to get into it.
I'm so excited. I've been on the record multiple times saying that I love Kobold Press and that I love your guys' stuff. A large section of my shelf over here is Kobold Press stuff.
It's all literally within arm's reach.
It's from here to here is all Kobold Press.
And I can't wait to make it grow even more.
Oh, I'm excited. I have looked through this preview doc that you sent over. I already was talking with you this morning about some of the stuff in here, but I am so excited to dive in. This Kickstarter goes live later today, like about an hour after we'll wrap up this morning.
10 a.m. EST.
Yeah. 10 a.m. Very exciting. Junie, you've looked through this as well, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so I feel like
questions, thoughts, concerns.
Concerns. Oh no.
Yeah.
It's the things that just trigger me that aren't going to trigger literally anybody else.
Gotcha.
But it's just since I don't have the control of the overlays, I can't easily go like this thing. But you all know what I'm talking about. Once we get there,
okay.
We'll
I'm mentally unprepared.
Cool. Yeah. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Everybody else will be fine. It's just me.
I'm so
Hunter,
worried.
Yeah. Me and Hunter Hunter doesn't know this. I have a about 5 pages of notes.
Oh no.
5 pages?
No.
Oh,
I just I made sure
Okay.
I made sure I was just like, all right,
The
I'm
the
gonna do
preview
notes, but then
PDF
I'm
is
also
like
gonna have
17 pages long.
I have
Oh,
20
no.
pages of notes. No.
Um, I'm so
But
excited.
yeah, go ahead.
Just to get started, Zach, can you run us through the basic pitch of this product, the Labyrinth?
Absolutely. So the Labyrinth Kickstarter is a 2-book compendium. It is a world book and a adventure path currently filled with 14 adventures, possibly more depending on stretch goals. And the 2 books essentially create the what is the epitome of 17 years of world building from our company. Most people know us in our setting work for Midgard, and all of the amazing Warlocks that we've written, literally like over 300 volumes, done over Patreon over many years, most of my life. And these 2 books essentially wrap it up into one conclusive multiverse. It's known as the Labyrinth or the Cosmos of 10,000 Worlds. It is the space in between spaces, and it's basically a place for all of the worlds we create and all of the worlds you create. So yeah.
I love that so much. When Dot was telling me about this at Gen Con, they had said like, yeah, it's a way to make canon to the world your world.
Yeah.
Like your homebrew world is also canon because it is attached to like this crazy multiverse Labyrinth, and you can access all of these different like versions of reality and stuff like that. And I was like, that's real cool. I love it so much. As somebody who has played around with like multiverse and like that space between worlds and stuff like that in my home games, having an actual source book and like mechanics and lore and stuff like that for that space between worlds is such a cool thing to be able to play with. The preview PDF you sent over the has like at the beginning of it there's the basic like table of contents which shows like everything that's going to be in this
The 3 pages of table of contents, yes.
yeah, so much stuff, and I'm so excited. There are a couple of things on there that are very exciting to me specifically.
Absolutely.
There are like individual worlds. There's
Mhm.
the people of the labyrinth because there are the like people that are living in this space between.
Yes.
And then you have like subclasses and stuff like that. The one thing that I am very excited about that I wanted to touch on real quick before we dive into anything else
Of course.
is there is a where did I see it? Let me find it. Oh no. There is additional rules and mechanics, and you have planar navigation of mapping, survival, and traveling.
Yeah.
I need to know more immediately.
We're just hopping right into it. Okay.
Yeah. Let's dive right in, man. I'm so
For sure.
excited.
So one thing I will preface for everyone watching, when the Kickstarter goes live in about, 8:11 a.m. EST, in about 2 hours when the Kickstarter goes live, this 17-page PDF that we're going to be talking about and yapping about for the
Yeah.
next hour will be free to download on our Kickstarter page. So you don't need to back, you don't need to click anything or sign up. You can just go to the page without an account and download it for free. So that's something I do want people to know before we get really into the nitty gritty.
Absolutely.
In terms of the actual like extra mechanics of the labyrinth, so you specifically harped on the navigation rules that are going to be in there.
Yeah.
There's also something that was unveiled to the public on Friday, in our Discord AMA, is that there's actually going to be a renown system to
Ooh.
basically help GMs figure out how well known or well hated their players are within the labyrinth.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a more villainous campaign, we tell you how to gear yourself more towards the void and how to become more of that villainous, infamous person, right? Or you're a valiant hero. There's also like we said, the navigation. So
Mhm.
you specifically want to know more about that. The big thing about the Labyrinth is that it's not. How do I put this? It's not like space, right? I can't
Right.
just hop on a ship, break atmosphere, and then travel to another planet, right? We have the astral sea, and so there is room for people who want to create that sort of like sci-fi nautical travel.
Yeah.
But for the large, vast majority, um, this is almost like the back rooms.
Mhm.
Literally you walk through one door that's never been opened since it was created, and all of a sudden you're in this cave on a world 10,000 miles away,
Yeah.
right?
It's
Or
not
you're
Spelljammer. Like it's not
yeah.
you're getting on a ship and you're sailing to like
This isn't
some
Star Wars. This
astral
isn't
thing.
Battlestar
It's
Galactica.
the world
Yeah.
between worlds, and like it's visualized in this way, but like also there's probably like different interpretations, so even like different sections of it are going to be different, right? It's not all literally just because there's corruption and there's other things that's going to be warped and changed, right?
Yeah, so one of the ways I like to help people describe, or how I've helped describe it to people early on, was if you think back to when you watched, um, which one was it? I think it was Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. They take that port key to go to the Quidditch World Cup.
Yeah. Mhm.
It's very much that you grab onto the item, you open the door, and then you're sucked in, right?
Okay.
It's that weird contortion of reality. Everything gets smushed and pushed everywhere.
Mhm.
Think if maybe you don't jive in a certain reality because it's like Spider Verse and your particles don't work with this world's particles,
Yeah.
and so
Mm.
maybe there's some void tainting that happens. That's another mechanic that's also going to be in the book. I mean, you see it a little bit with the Void Caster Wizard subclass.
That's what got me, and I was looking. I was like, where is this void tainting happening? Because it said something about
It's
resisting exhaustion,
yeah,
because the wizard has an ability to resist exhaustion. I was like, wait, is that? And I'm here looking like, hold on, is this normally a thing? Like in my head, I was just like, oh yeah, let me resist being exhausted. Isn't that just sleeping? Isn't that high? Wait a second, what's happening here? So yeah, that was me where I was gonna jump in like, hey, what's going on with this whole?
yeah.
Uh,
One of
how
the
is it
cool
messing
things
with you?
about that subclass is it plays with your exhaustion level a lot as a mechanic. It's almost
I
like a
love that.
secondary resource pool.
The
Um,
I
yeah.
don't think exhaustion is utilized enough in the games. It's such a fun mechanic to play with. Obviously, you can get like into a space where it's this is ruined a session because too many people are exhausted. But like it's a fun mechanic to play with that I don't think gets utilized enough. Um
Yeah. And I think one of the really nice things about having, all of the designers that we do on this book, and specifically, Celeste, the lead game designer here at Kobold Press,
mhm,
um, is that she knows how to not go too crazy with it, but still
right.
giving it that KP power level feel, right?
Mhm,
And so we play with exhaustion, but it's never gonna be to a point like even if someone like very brokenly like doesn't understand the class and goes too far in
yeah.
one direction, it's not gonna be to a point where like it's irredeemable or their character is just dead because they don't know
Mhm,
how to use the class, right? It's very much geared to where like there's a high skill ceiling, but there's also a good protection where like even a person who's newer to the game can use this class and not feel
nice.
super out of their depth.
That's great. Um, yeah, I mean, there's so much in here. We could dive into this for forever. So I want to make sure that we get through everything. The I One of the things that stood out to me as I was just reading through like everything is that it has kind of at least based on this stuff, it has kind of a Dune vibe of like there is that sort of like political and like uh cults and religion and different political parties and different like powers all vying for that sort of control and stuff. It has kind of that energy to me in some parts of it. Even on page 7 of the PDF, there's a picture under the like factions section, and like the person depicted in that picture, I was like, that has real strong Dune energy, which I like a lot. There's a lot of cool like elements there. Is there something that has stood out to you as you've kind of been like prepping all of this and getting ready for the Kickstarter? Is there anything that has jumped out to you as something that is your favorite part about it? Something that is sticking out as the thing you're most excited for?
How much do I want to reveal? That's the question.
Totally
I asked.
fair.
So
Totally
it's
fair.
a thing we haven't seen yet. Just on a scale of like just facial expression from like to like where like
Like
is
I'm
it
spoiling like 3 Kickstarters ahead if I say what
Okay.
really is my favorite point.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah,
So
like that's
stay tuned
we're
for
like
way into the future.
we're
Yeah.
thinking like I'm talking like 2026.
Yeah.
Like that's how deep
Playing that long
this
game.
this thing powder kegs, right?
Yeah.
Well,
So
here's
is
the
it
teaser
within
info.
the labyrinth, or is it like that it's
Yes.
going to be expanding with because it's not just a labyrinth. Like the fact that there's factions, like it's one of those things where it's not just a tight small maze or anything like that. Like there's going to be big locations within here
Yeah.
that will house
So
like large groups of people and such, right?
I'll give you 2 answers.
Okay.
Mhm.
One is an answer that I'll have to be super vague on, and 2 is an answer I can actually speak to because it's in the PDF.
Cool.
Fair.
There has been a lot. So people for the past year or so have really been yapping. I'll use the word yapping. They've been yapping about how we haven't done much Midgard content, which is not true. We release Midgard content every week for free on our blog. Not to mention we release adventures for the thing all the time. But people have noticed that we haven't exactly been releasing a lot of like in-depth expansions on the lore of Midgard for a while. This was the thing we were waiting on before we expanded what our plans for Midgard were. So in 2025 and in 2026, you will see what was previously roadblocked because we needed to get this out.
That's exciting.
Okay.
As for the point that I can speak to, I am absolutely in love with the Void Angels. They have been something that I have latched onto since I saw the cover back in like the end of 2023. Like we've had this cover since like November. I mean, even prior to that, but like the marketing team has seen it since November.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, oh my god, this Dami Mommy Void Angel, let's go. Like please step on my reality.
Can I say something real quick?
Please.
We've talked a few times, like we've hung out a bit.
Yeah.
The moment I saw the Void Angels in here, I was like, oh, I bet Zach loves these.
Yes.
I immediately clocked, oh, this is absolutely Zach's vibe.
Yes, it absolutely is.
You brought me around because I was like, I looked at the one from the like page 11. I'm like, okay, cool. This is a sweet weapon. And then it's like, Dami. And I went to the cover. I'm like, hello.
Yeah, no.
And I rethought about it. Yeah,
I will say the one on page 11 though is so cool looking. Like it looks like every for the viewer's benefit here. In your mind's eye, imagine every player who has ever been like, I want to play an Oathbreaker, fallen Aasimar, like sort of dark angel, like real edgelord type character. Mm-hmm. Imagine what you think that looks like. It's these things. They're so freaking dope looking. I'm so excited.
Just like the one on the cover, there's an event horizon in your chest as well.
I have a question that might not be in here.
Sure.
So you tell me if you could say more or not. But I'm looking at it, and I which one gives me the better? I feel like with the cover one, you see it, it's dark, and you could see almost like it's it could just be like plate or obsidian looking type, but it really does look like a void on the one on page 11. I'm not sure if it shows it, but is there like literally like, because I see that there's like a void shield, like a shield of annihilation. Is that like literally like they have a small like vortex in their chest? Like,
are you talking about the little bit of magic that's there?
Well, it just looks like they literally have like the Void Angel part, like the art looks like they just have like a swirling like black hole in their chest. And I'm
Yeah.
like, is there a thing where you literally just like they suck things into their chest type of situation? And I'm like looking to see if that's the case. Or
So
if that's just like
what I will
cool
say
like
is
aesthetic.
what I will say is there is a mechanic for that. Yes, that is specifically on the stat block of the Void Angel, the Arc Void Angel that's on the cover.
Arc Void Angel.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you. Yep. That I was just like, you see, because I feel like it might
And I
not
can
be
talk
here, but
about
I
her because
totally
she's mentioned in the PDF. That's Kelbeleth.
Okay. Okay.
And Kelbeleth is the first of the Void Angels.
Ooh.
But yes, so what specifically is inside her chest is the event horizon of a black hole.
Okay.
It had
That's
black
I was
hole
about to
vibes. Yeah.
Yeah, it like at first I was like, okay, that looks cool, and then I reflavored it once I like compared the Void Angel that's in the stat block, and I was like, wait a second, that definitely looks okay. Can is there a thing for that? Because I'm not seeing like just a simple like that's a great sword chain. There's a soul siphon, and they can change shape, but there wasn't like a suck into chest maneuver. So I was just like, can they just suck things into their chest? Like, hold on a second.
Can you imagine? That's just the you're just living through the stat block, and then there's an action that's just called "suck into chest." Like,
sometimes you got to make them real. Like, this is what you can do.
Yeah.
So people out on site know what they can do.
Junie needs the actions to be a little bit more direct in what they're doing. I'm so sorry, Zach. We absolutely cut you off and tangented on you talking about how much you like the Void Angels.
Yes, I love the Void Angels. I love how we actually have like the hierarchy, right? So you have the heralds and you have the divas. Like and there's more, right?
Yeah.
Which will be in the full book. But I love how we actually have that built out versus,
Yes.
oh yeah, here's this thing and it's off to the side. Here's like 100 words about it. No, it's like an actual thing that gets its own section and there's stat blocks. And
well,
yeah.
in the like the core 5e monster manuals, it's like, okay, here look at celestials, and it's like, okay, here are the devas and the like planetars and stuff like that. But you have to really read into the like stat blocks of them to determine, okay, well, how do these connect to the other ones? So I really like the fact that you've kind of outlined specifically, here is the hierarchy of these entities.
Well, so if I could say something about that,
Yeah.
The reason for that is because they're just stat blocks in 5e, right? But in TOV, they're an active part of our mythos and our cosmology, right? So we have to put them together for you to understand and for it to make sense, right? Versus them where, the sorcerers by the seaside is what I'll say. They don't necessarily have like a very active, like that like those creatures don't have like an active piece of lore outside of like their own little hierarchy. So they fragment it in their stat blocks versus connecting it like we do.
Yeah. I love that.
I like that. Yeah.
That's great. You had mentioned
go ahead. No, go ahead. Yeah, mine was the dumb thing that I was gonna say triggered me earlier. Since you know the names of all the creatures, what is the name of this multi-faced golem creature that's on page 5?
It's like in the table of contents.
Now, this is a dumb thing for me because that looks dope, right? I don't know why it upset me. There was just something about it where I felt like he was looking at me and he was like, hey, and I don't know what about it made me go, ah! but it's
Junie got jump scared by a PDF.
I essentially got jump scared by like, and it's not even a full thing. It's like in the corner, like, hey, here's another cool creature you got there. But I was just like, I was just like, nightmares. I don't know why that one did it. Oh no, I triggered my motion cam. Now my camera's following.
Yeah, for the listeners, there is a image of this creature that looks kind of like a dwarf golem, that has one hand is this long serrated, it gives me Keyblade vibes.
Yes.
But it's like a
it's
like a serrated
the correct
blade.
term is a dirk. It's a dirk.
A dirk?
It's a Dirk.
Okay.
It's a serrated
Okay.
Dirk.
Its name
Good to
is
know.
Dirk. Its name is
No,
just, well,
so the monster is an ancillary servitor.
okay,
The
thank
blade
you.
specifically that he's talking about, I agree, it actually does give a Keyblade vibes, but like the actual name of the blade is a Dirk.
Okay, thank you. I was also, it was like,
Judy-
you weren't gonna tell me the thing that jump scared me's name is Dirk. I would have been like, oh yeah, you were scared by the Dirk.
There's
No, that the monster's name it's called a servitor,
a servitor. I like that. That's cool.
ancillary servitor.
I
Thank
like
you.
the head looks like it has multiple faces on it,
Yeah,
and it like maybe
does.
rotates.
Mhm.
That's very cool. It reminds me of the in I think it's technically Divinity Original Sin 2, I think. But I recognize it from Baldur's Gate because it was a like crossover thing. There's a mask in there that you can put on that like lets you cast like disguise self. But it has like different heads on the different sides of it.
Okay.
It reminded me of that when I first saw it.
It's funny how that's where your brain goes to, because my brain goes to the two door heads from Meet the Robinsons.
Also very, very good. That is an underrated movie. Like I could go into a full hour-long episode just talking about Meet the Robinsons. I love that
If you want to
movie.
talk about the only movie to ever do time travel correctly, yes, we could talk about Meet the Robinsons.
That's a separate episode though. That seems like a
You can call me back on once the Kickstarter's closed for that episode.
Yeah, that'll be just like that seems like a late night episode. Like that's like a Wednesday night. Like let's all get on and just talk about the time travel
I'm
and
so
Meet the
down.
Robinsons.
I
I'm
have
so down.
not seen it.
Oh,
I'm the
Junie.
guy. Yeah.
You will have to. Your daughter would love Meet the Robinsons. It is a fun movie.
It is really fun.
It is a
kid's
very
movie.
good movie. It has possibly my all-time favorite like moment where an animal has been given like sentience in a movie because they they make a dinosaur they give the dinosaur like this
ability
mind
to
control
speak.
thing, and it can talk and stuff. They're like having the dinosaur chase a kid, and the kid runs into this corner, and the dinosaur's like, it's a big T-Rex, and its head is like there, and it can't get to the kid. And the bad guy's like, "Why aren't you seizing the boy?" And the T-Rex goes, "I have a big head and little arms." It's a
comedy gold.
great movie. Go watch it. Anyway,
That's your homework for this episode.
yeah, fully, you need to see this movie.
This is the next half
Completely
hour of
off
the show.
topic though. No, we can't get into Meet the Robinsons as the topic of this episode. Zach, you mentioned before that there's like a ton of stuff. And I think this was before we actually were in the stream, but when you and I were on the call earlier, there's a ton of stuff that is going to be available in this Kickstarter. Do you want to break down some of that for us?
Sure. So first and foremost, if you back within the first 48 hours, everyone who backs at a physical tier, within the first 48 hours, this is a 3D render, so it does not do the actual coin justice, but you get a Labyrinth River Styx coin.
Heck yeah.
So obviously
Nice.
it would be about this size. It would have a black, it's called Stygian black, and it would be like an actual metal coin.
Nice.
So yeah, we
Looks
just
like
have, the 3D
a
renders of
a
them.
minotaur on one side and a
Yes,
maze on the other.
Can I get it?
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice.
Yes, for Labyrinth, and then you get the maze on the back.
Heck yeah. That's
So
dope.
yeah. First 48 hours physical tier, you get one of those for free. We of course have our two books. The one is the World Book, of course, which will feature, it's about 30-30-30 split of like 30% lore, 30% GM guidance on how to like actually incorporate your world into the Labyrinth, and 30% player options. And then we have the levels 1 to currently 14, could be 16 based on stretch goals, adventure path. Outside of that, we have, for the first time ever in Kobold Press history, we are partnering with Beetle and Grimm,
So
and we will be
exciting.
having a Beetle and Grimm Game Masters Vault for the Labyrinth Kickstarter.
Oh.
There's lots of really cool goodies that
Yeah.
is going to be inside of that. Final details still to be disclosed, but it will feature maps, a GM screen, and some other really cool stuff. Basically, some stuff that for the adventure path will help you basically immerse your players, give them some
Yeah.
things that will actually be like holdable. Is as much as I'll be able to describe with that.
Yeah, I have
Um,
some of the Beetle and Grimm stuff, and like
Amazing.
there are some of those boxes I've opened up and been like, oh, this is crazy cool. Like there
It's
are
sick.
some items I've pulled out of those boxes that I've been like, this is next level. This is insane
Yeah.
that they've put this in here.
And I'll tell you, like, yes, it is them asking, hey, what are the things that you want here?
Yeah.
But a lot of it is also Beetle and Grimm themselves peering through the material piece by piece
Yeah.
and figuring out what is going to be the best pieces to put in there.
Yeah.
So they do a lot of really good work, and we're really
Yeah.
excited to partner with them for this. Something to note about that: this GM Vault will not be available in Backer Kit. So this is only while the Kickstarter is live. So if you want to get the GM Vault, you are only able to get it while the Kickstarter is actually active. Once the Kickstarter is closed, this thing's gone.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have some extras, but they're not gonna be for like sale anywhere, right? Those are gonna be
Yeah.
for like giveaways and like to keep in Wolfgang's garage for like the next 10 years. Because that's what he likes to do. Let me tell you, bro. We found some old copies of Return to Castle Shadowcrag, an $1,100 Kickstarter exclusive book. Gave a couple away at Kobold Con, dude. We were like, yeah, sure, we'll just give people away a $1,000+ book because that's what it sold for last on eBay.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, but yes,
I think I saw a dice tray and some
Yes.
dice as well. Am I crazy? I got
Yeah,
the
yes.
press
So there-
emailer today. Yeah.
Yeah, so there will be there'll be a felt dice tray by Fanroll, as well as some resin dice by Fanroll as well.
Nice.
These will be very very similar in quality to the Deep Magic 2 dice that you guys have probably seen.
Mhm.
And if you backed the Tales of the Valiant Kickstarter, actually you can relate to those as well. The Tales of the Valiant Kickstarter's dice tray and dice set, it's very
Mhm.
similar to those, but it will have the Void Purple instead
Nice.
of the Tales of the Valiant Blue.
Very cool.
Yeah. That's pretty much everything. The only thing outside of that is like, we're currently deciding whether or not we want to do like you can buy extra coins with as
Mhm.
add-ons or
Sure.
those sorts of things. But outside of that, VTTs, it'll be available on all your normal VTT platforms. You know, Roll20, Foundry, Fantasy Grounds, Alchemy. Yeah. And then
That's
we'll
great.
of course have our PDF only tiers.
Right.
So, yeah.
I assume there's going to be a like the alternate cover versions
Yes,
as well.
yes, we will have our limiteds and our handbounds as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I'm a
limiteds
sucker.
are
I'm a
sexy.
sucker for the limited ones. I'm
They're
always
sexy.
like, oh man, like I've got the Toma Beasts 3-1, the monster, the Tales of the Valiant, the Deep Magic, the Southlands, all in the limited ones because they're so
Hell
pretty.
yeah.
I love them so much.
They're so good. Especially since we started doing double foil. The
Yeah,
double foil
they're
just looks
pretty.
so good.
Yeah. I am so excited that you guys are doing something with Beetle and Grimm because like when I saw that I was like there are some things that I have seen in those where I'm like this would be just something I would want from every adventure I would ever get. Like the handouts and the things that let you get really hands-on with stuff and really see what you're looking at and that sort of thing. Like they've done some like artifact type things in some of the boxes that are just absolutely stunning. I think the Wild Beyond the Witchlight one has a full unicorn horn in that box, and I was like, that's a wild thing just be like one of the first things you see when you open the box.
It is definitely a luxury product.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is going to be made to order. That's why. But we're really excited for this, and it's hopefully the first of many. We're really excited to work with Beetle and Grim, and we know they do good stuff. So yeah.
Let's dive into the void and like the power and the corruption and stuff like that.
I just
Sure.
saw something and I was like, what, the void speech? Like, it's the language and the power. Did you make like Skyrim like Fusro Da speech? Because it seems like those spells, they all need to be spoken into existence or written into existence. I'm looking at like Void Strike. You write a short phrase of Void speech, and then you attack something with magic, or you shout a scathing thing in voice magic, Void magic. So is it like the language of the Void itself is just powerful and destructive? Is that how that's going to be?
Yeah. So I mean, it's much like any magic within tabletop, in a typical sense, right? The way fantasy magic is perceived is that like the energy source at which you're casting it from is typically the magic that it creates is typically like in some way, like, what's the word, derivative of its trait, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
So like for example, divine magic typically has some form of like healing or blessing sort of factor to it, right? Yeah, and then you look at things like weird magic, and that's how you get the more like funky stuff with like warlocks and witches
Yeah.
and all that cool stuff. The way TOV's spell system works is pretty. It's very compatible with 5e's, but we split up the magic differently, where we don't have things by like class spell lists. We just do the 4 lists of primordial, arcane, divine, and weird, and so void magic in and of itself is like a pseudo 5th list. But the void in and of itself as a concept is the nothingness that eats away at reality, right? So with the magic that is void magic, it's supposed to be derivative of its source. So if its source is the nothingness that eats away at reality, yeah, the magic itself is going to be very destructive and
Yeah.
corrupting and evil in and of its essence. Yeah.
That's so cool. You had mentioned earlier the sort of like corruption of the void and stuff like that. How does that kind of impact a character? Like, how is that something that you just sort of pick up from being in the void? Is that a something that is inflicted upon you? How does that how do you gather that, and how does it impact you going forward?
Sure. So, if you've ever played, how do I put this? No, I'm not even going to relate to something else. Basically, the way like void corruption and void taint work is as you travel throughout the labyrinth, right? And you deal with the evil world-ending nothingness that is the void. Whether it's you deal with its agents, whether you deal with the cults or the covens. If, for example, maybe you come into contact with a void angel, or perhaps some cultist casts crushing curse on you. There's always a chance that an interaction becomes dire enough to where a bit of that void stays with you. And so basically, we have tables and resources in the book that allow you to show more permanent effects in how those actually manifest on your character. And then, of course, we also offer the options of like, what are the really like almost like side quest level things that we have to do to cure ourselves of these ailments. So yeah, there's a lot of like interactivity just in that sort of like void corruption. And I mean, you could add a whole like 6 sessions to a campaign just off of, oh, we need to go to this plane and talk to this priestess who only has the power to stop my eyes from becoming purpley and glowy and veiny. Yeah, so it's stuff like that where it's like it can, maybe it's physically altering your appearance, maybe it's changing the way that maybe you start to hear voices. or maybe like maybe Zephythus is calling out to you. Maybe Nidhogg is telling you you must do this for me. You aren't becoming my agent, or XYZ,
Yeah.
right? So those sorts of things.
So there's physical corruption, and there's also sort of like more mental stuff of like you're hearing the whispers in the call and stuff like that, kind of like
yeah.
almost akin to like a Cthulhu madness type element.
So I want to be very clear and distinct. We
Mhm.
specifically make a point to not compare it to like mental illness,
Mhm.
right? So there at no point is this going to be like you are going mad, right?
Sure.
Or you're going insane. This is straight up something is trying to talk to you. And
Right.
your
Yeah,
GM will always know what that entity is. That entity will always exist.
Yeah.
So we're never going to replicate anything like schizophrenia or any
Right.
actual real life mental illness.
It's never that you are imagining a whisper, or you're hearing things that aren't there. It is
No, it will always actually be something.
something is genuinely whispering to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A big part of that is when we want things to be actionable, right?
Yeah.
So like we don't want like if your GM like is like, yes, and as you fall asleep, you hear the whispers of a dark and rumbling voice reach
Right.
out to you and say XYZ, right? We don't want that just to be like the open-ended thing of like a player now being like, oh well fuck, well, what was that about?
Right.
Sorry, can I curse? I
Yeah.
forget.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. I think I might have already done it. I apologize.
You're good.
But it's the thing of like a player will know, oh, there's an actual thing that is interacting with me right now, so that's actionable, right? Versus forcing something on them like an in-game mental illness.
That's so good. Yeah.
On top of that being problematic and all that.
Yeah.
But that's the main reason we do it, is because much like in the rest of our lore and writing at Kobold Press, we're very much about the powder keg, right?
Yeah.
So the one thing that explodes into 5 more, right? So let's give that player that dream, that vision, that whisper, but let's actually make sure that there's sort of follow through on that.
Right. You're not introducing something that is just there to be an inconvenience and not giving them anything that can be done about it. It's a like, this is a thing, and this is how you would like go about removing it, like working through it, that sort of thing.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
I love that.
I like that the wizard one also, it makes it a little bit like they're touching it's that big risk reward situation where it literally says to harness like this crazy power, you are risking becoming a conduit for like eldritch horrors coming into the world. So it's almost like a wizard that's trying to like jack a warlock's whole situation, because they're getting power from something, and then that something is just like, hey, you know where you're getting that from? He's just like, I'm reading a book. Like, I don't want to.
So
from my own study. Like, shut up.
I'm reading from my stuff. I don't care where I'm getting this from, and it's like that. You know, there's a lot of like role play potential there, where it's just like, I get my powers from a book. It's just like, yeah, but the book is talking now. It's just like, I don't want to ignore. I'm ignoring that. Okay, I'm not here for that. I just do it, and it's just like, all right, it's still there. It's still talking. You're still doing something.
I'm a big fan of subclasses that cause the class to play like a different class. It's so much fun. Like the one of my favorite warlocks is like one of my favorite like core warlocks is the Eldritch Knight, or not the Eldritch Knight, the Hexblade. Because with the Hexblade, you are like, you're playing a fighter essentially, but not as good of a fighter, and you're still a warlock and you're doing warlocky stuff, but like you're a tank of a warlock. Or like taking a sorcerer and being like, you're divine soul sorcerer, and so you're gonna play as a like a semi cleric-y vibes. Like my wife is playing a divine soul sorcerer in our game, and she is a divine soul sorcerer of the god of death, and somehow she has became almost the healer of the party, because everybody else, like, there is a cleric in the group, but the cleric is always busy like doing like spirit guardians and stuff like that, and so she has become kind of the healer of the group as a sorcerer, which is like, I love a character that plays kind of against type, and this very much is feeling like a warlocky wizard, which I love.
Yeah, the like in lore explanation for the Voidcaster is very much like the way a warlock gets their power is through their pact, right? And so it's that agreement that doesn't give their deity or their patron the power to overstep and use them,
Mm-hmm.
right? They can intimidate them or try to force their hand or try to command them or incentivize them in any evil way, right? But they have that contract, right? So
Right.
like it's like the dude from Princess and the Frog, right? It's all
Yeah.
about what's in the
Yeah.
writing, right? What's in blood.
Yeah.
Versus this Voidcaster, there's no agreement in effect. So
You're calling
perhaps
on that stuff without
Yeah.
the
Without the protection of
agreement.
They're hacking
Yeah.
the void. They're just
Yeah.
like, I found a back door.
yeah. And so it's that back alley deal that causes back alley side effects. So,
Right. The warlock is like going through the proper channels to ensure that, like, it's weird to think about a warlock as going through the proper channels, but in a way, like, the warlock did the required paperwork, and this guy is like,
and for once, the class that's known for paperwork, the wizard,
right, yeah,
is not doing their
is
paperwork.
refusing. Absolutely not. I'm like, it's the difference between having like a prescription for like whatever med you're on and going to like a back alley to get it. Like there's
Yeah.
I love this sort of, I like a wizard who has overstepped. Like a wizard who has gone too far and pursued something that was beyond their control is very appealing to me as both a player and a storyteller, to look at a character and go, you have screwed up. Like you have reached into a dark corner that is not somewhere you should have been to get something that you should not be playing with. This is a dangerous thing you're doing. It lends itself so well to story. And I love that. There's a character in one of my groups right now, actually the group that my wife plays in. There is a character who has been like slowly listening to the whispers of a dark god, and like slowly going that direction, and a few sessions back like fully took an offer from that god and was removed from the story and is like going off to do something with them.
Oh wow.
And so like the party is trying to track them down to rescue them because they clearly are out of their element and are no longer like pursuing things in a way they should be. And this very much feels like that same sort of energy of like, I'm going to lean into something that isn't necessarily something I should be.
Yeah, it's a plot
I love
device.
it. Yeah,
And I love
it's
it.
so good. It's a plot device built into a subclass, which is very, very cool.
Thank you.
You also have a couple of magic items that are in here that are very cool. I also want to touch on the fact that these magic items have a gold piece amount right next to it. It tells you exactly how much these items cost. As somebody who routinely has to figure out how much a magic item is going to cost my players when they're like, I want a bag of holding. And I'm like, okay, that's going to be this amount. It does my heart good to look at magic items and just see, oh, this is how much. This is how much it costs. You want that item? It has a gold piece associated with it. It's such a simple addition, and I love it so much.
Well, Hunter, you'll be happy to hear that in all Tales of the Valiant books, every magic item has a gold value attached to it.
Yep.
So, GMs no longer need to play the guessing game and be a semi-economist just to run their game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like good things you can get out of like touching the void, because it seems like I see there's an item that lets you just full blown predict the future with accuracy, as if you're using legend lore, and the wizard like lets you at a higher level manifest just like void aura and just destroy things around it. Are there repercussions that like that the player doesn't have any say in, like you do this enough that this is going to happen? I know that there's things that happen if they're traversing in the void, like there's that table, but what about the classes that use like their features, or if there's items that like tap into it? Are there mechanics that like you're not in the void specifically, but you're touching that void energy that kind of like say like bring about those repercussions, or is that like GM discretion? Like you've been doing this a lot, so you're bringing a lot more void stuff into your party, into your experience.
Yeah, so one thing I do want to clarify is that like
Hmm.
the void so the void table the tables for like interacting with the void and all those sorts of things, there's a separate one from travel, there's a separate one for you actually like getting void taint,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
So when you're so sometimes when you're traveling through we just like when you're like traveling through the void
Hmm.
or you're traveling through the labyrinth, you can get affected by either table. Just like how like you when you're like using the void, you can get affected by either table. It's all
Okay.
dependent on how does the GM feel like this interaction plays
Mhm.
into either table, right?
Okay.
And so when it comes to one table, yes. When it comes to the other, not so much.
Got you.
But we also, we have guidance in there for like here's how to make things less permanent and less drastic, right? Because we don't want to take away player agency, and then we have
Mhm.
Correct.
of course we have like the ways of how to cure and all those sorts of things. So it's very much a like what's the word? It's a give and take. It's a back and forth, right?
Yeah.
Versus hey, you have a third eye now. Deal with it.
And it'll and I know that that's stuff that'll be like communicated, because if you're using void energy, then they're gonna be like, what does that mean? And then that'll open the door to like, well, this are all the things that are associated with the void.
Yeah.
But like
Well, it's also
that's
like
yeah,
wild magic sorcerers read the wild magic table.
Mhm.
correct. Yeah.
A void caster wizard's gonna read the void taint table.
Right.
Yeah.
They're gonna know what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah.
So when the dice rolls, at that point, it's no longer the GM's fault; it's the
Yeah.
dice's. So
That's my favorite thing. Is that people they do get mad at the dice.
yeah,
It's just like, I didn't turn you into a plant, man. I didn't do that. You did that.
I've used a for years I've used an expanded wild magic table that is like 1,000 possible results.
Mhm.
And
I love that.
some of the situations that have arisen from using that is like I love a little bit of chaos. Like if you're gonna use this thing, it's gonna result in things out of your control. Is always a fun beat, especially if people understand that going into it. I've had players sign up to be like a wild magic sorcerer, and not be happy about the like randomness and chaos of it, and I'm like, you're playing a wild magic sorcerer, like this is kind of par for the course. But I've also had people that have signed up and then meticulously read over like every possible result of those
Yeah.
tables to make sure that they know everything that could potentially happen, which is always a fun one. um in the table of contents, there is a section under Worlds of the Labyrinth that is planes and pathways. What is a pathway?
Right. So when we talk about like we referenced it earlier where we talked about like maybe there's like a door
Mm-hmm.
on the street that no one goes in or out of, right?
Sure.
But for some reason your player does. And all of a sudden they thought they were going into a tavern, but now they're walking into a blacksmith shop
Mm-hmm.
and everyone is like foaming at the mouth with lava when previously they were in like some typical high fantasy town.
Mm-hmm.
That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
That's what the pathway is, right? Or perhaps it's the secret doorway that you unveil and there's a bunch of minotaurs in robes and garb and they're like, you shouldn't know about this.
Yeah.
So it's those hidden entryways.
Yeah.
Those are what the doors to the labyrinth are. And then of course we have like our portal keys, which are like our interactive points that allow you to straight up at any from anywhere unlock a door.
Yeah. So you can open. There are like core entry points where like this is a way that will just always lead you in, and then there are
Yeah.
also ways to open a door if you are not near one of those places.
Yeah, and so for example, like we have TOV compatibility partners,
Mhm.
and those compatibility partners, much like for example the DM's Guild, get to use an extended part of our lore, right,
Mhm.
in our IP. So I'll throw out an example. One of our most popular compatibility partners, Lou Anders,
Mhm.
he now is able to write an expansion pack for his setting, where he talks about here are 5 entry points into the labyrinth in Norengrad, which
Mhm.
is his like northern Viking setting.
Yeah.
And so he's able to do that now, right? And so like much like a home game, you can have your entire world that's still the exact same. You don't need to change or rewrite anything, but here's how you add your 5 doorways, and maybe you give your world a portal key, and all of a sudden your world now has like a couple different entry points for the labyrinth, so that way when your players get high enough level, or if your players take on something that is a bit more on the multiversal scale, you're able to introduce them to that and then loop your world into the labyrinth.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much, like, even just in the preview PDF, there is so much content that is in here. I cannot wait to see the full thing. For anybody watching, go check out the Kickstarter when it launches later today. And like check this out. Like get the preview PDF, read through it. There's like you got stat block for the Void Angel in here. You've got the like some adventure hooks. You've got the subclass for wizard of Voidcaster. Like there's some magic items, some spells. There's cool stuff in here. Even if it's just the free PDF, but like go check out the full thing because there's going to be like even more stuff.
There is.
They're like even just reading through the like table of contents here. You've got Heroes of the Labyrinth. There's a subclass for like
There's a lot of
each
subclasses.
each
Yeah.
of them. Like the Forsaken Barbarian, the Dreamer Druid, Radiant Dawn Monk, the Umbral Sorcerer, Voidcaster Wizard. The one that jumped out to me right away was the Old World Paladin. Is immediately very intriguing to me just
Interesting.
based on name. Um,
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
there's lineage options, there's heritages, backgrounds, talents. There's so much stuff that is outlined here, and I'm very very excited to get my hands on it and play around with it.
This could be me overthinking this crazy, but the warlock, it says celestial in that.
Hmm.
So is that one that's still void flavored, or is this like you're tapping into something? There are they all like void centric in some way, shape, or form? Or is it like that's not the case? Is like I'm flavoring them all that way, but like the paladin
For the
might not be.
subclasses, no.
Yeah, the subclasses. Yeah. Okay.
No, they're not. So basically, the way, so think about it. So there's more than just the void that goes on in here,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I know we're at the hour, so I won't go on too long. But essentially, like all of the subclasses somehow relate loosely to one of either the heroic or villainous factions within Labyrinth.
Hmm.
So like the old
Okay.
world paladin relates to the Old Ring, which is a heroic faction, and they're like the
Okay.
old secret keepers that are like very woodsy sort of feel. They're protectors.
Hmm.
They protect essentially the secrets of the universe.
Hmm. I
Okay.
love that.
I'm here for that.
So
I
yeah.
was about to say is like is the void characterized as like a giant celestial or something like that? Because I wasn't sure if they were all. This is showing how it like kind of like seeps into everything. Because if that's like, oh yeah, it could be a door anywhere. It also has touch into it, but I like that it is. You don't have to. You're not pigeonholed into it. You know what I mean? If somebody doesn't want to
No, yeah,
risk
and
void taint or anything like that, there's a subclass that
yeah,
they could try a new fun class without having to dive into that if they don't
Hmm.
want to. So that's really cool. I really like
yeah,
that.
and we write each subclass in a way where it's like, yes, there's the obvious ways to tie yourself to the labyrinth in a greater
Hmm.
extent, but these can be taken and used in any setting, right?
Right.
And they
Mhm.
can be easily reflavored to match any setting. So yeah.
That's
This is
awesome.
yeah, this is definitely like really big plug and play. I know that I tend to use a lot of modules and allow those things to do the heavy lifting, so that way I can just focus on whatever the players want to do. And then anytime I have an easy mechanism to connect things, so I don't have to try to like, as like, this is all here, I can use this like scaffolding to connect these two worlds, and then also give people the freedom to like, if you want to change things up, there's now a literal pathway to go to that direction you want to go to. You want to go to that. You want to go to an Arctic race. You want to go to space. There's probably a door or something we can take us there. So that's pretty. That's fun. That's gonna be a fun space to play around in. And then
Yeah.
new hooks. I'm really excited for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zach, thank you so much for making the time this morning and coming in talking about this. I'm very excited to see the full thing. It goes live at 10 o'clock this morning. That is 10 a.m. Eastern time on what is today? September 23rd of 2024. So if you're listening to this after that, it probably is already out. Or if you're listening to this way in the future, it's probably already done. It's who knows? I assume
Check
this
it out
is
on BackerKit. The
yeah. Go check it out
or if it's way
later.
later in the future.
Yeah,
go get it on our store live now or at your local LGS.
there you go.
Cool.
Thank you so much for making the time this morning, Zach. I really appreciate it. We will be back on Friday with more nonsense here. In the meantime, Zach, we end this show every week with a like calls to action for the week. They can be nonsense, they can be serious, but we do 3 every time. I think the first one absolutely has to be, hey, go check this out and go back it if you are able to. Go see how cool this is going to be. The second one, I think, has to be watch Meet the Robinsons. I think that has to be our second one.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Zach, do you have a third one for us this week?
My third one. Listen to the void. Listen to that chaos in your ear. Listen to the void.
Hey, there you go. I love that. Okay, we will be back next time, everybody. Until then, remember to embrace the nonsense, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.